when you are on the edges of the society or in the edge of the main places, or what you do or what you don't do allow you to reflect and observe, and being on the edges of many things, talking with shepherds, with people that cultivate the lands, and you realize that there's something wrong going on, or at least there are feelings that makes you feel like we are not doing properly, or even in the worst scenario, it's already too late for rescuing many things. So, for example, this is a commissioned work I did in Lodi, near Milan, for a festival of the ethic photography. What happened, basically, is that I did the work, and I had only 2 weeks to make it, and then to print for the exhibition. And so, to be fast, once I got the scans, I put it, all the images that were standing out for me, into a PDF. And in a very simple game, like this one was the opening, because the line of the soccer field was inviting me to go behind the door. There was a wall. So this kind of weird invitation into an unknown place, inaccessible for me, was just the representation of something interesting to open a discussion. And as you can see, like the colors around, this little like squares of color, they make everything very just nice and enjoyable, and very light and joyful.
Yeah, this image is one in my research that I kept looking at. And it's just one of those that really stood out to me. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. Going ahead is just simply, color-wise, we're color going together, and this image was suggesting me that would have been nice to have in the double spread of the book, just because the shape of this place was looking already like a page of a book that is spreaded, And thinking of the object, it makes me like making already the game of being inside the pages of the book naturally. There are several suggestions, popping in, popping out of the same word, of the same feeling that repeats itself, like in this image. We can see it's pretty much the same ingredients working, both in the compositively and chromatically. They represent more or less two ways of saying more or less the same thing.
Gotcha.
And for that reason, I like the idea of having them together to enjoy the difference of different point of views on the same topic.
So this project, what was the inspiration for it? What were you trying to say with this body of work?
It was nice because the owner of an independent bookshop in Lodi, he knew that in February 2020, before the lockdown, I was around Sicily doing a body of work I called Fine, which means hand, about the apocalypse. And he was a bit shocked because he made me a phone call. He wanted to do the exhibition with Fine. And he said, why you were around in February 2020 before the lockdown doing the work on Apocalypse? What did you know that we didn't know?
What did you know? Yeah, what did you know? Yeah.
Well, in the beginning, that made me laugh a lot. And
naturally.
Yeah, because, of course, I didn't know that was going on something that we experienced, and that today is something that we are trying to keep far away from our experience. We made mistakes with remembering the age, which year was, it happened, this thing, because we, in a way, we don't want to really position this experience of our life. The thing is very simple from one side, because I told you, like, I've been friends with anthropologists and writers, and in the last more than 10 years, we've been talking about the collapse of society and the cultural collapse, a collapse of our way of, where there is an expression we can use. There's basically something we are observing like a cognitive collapse, which means that our way of living is getting more detached from the real world, the real life, from the world outside, from the elements, from the weather. Even if now the weather, in Sicily, for example, we've been experiencing like summer or spring till now. Now is like we are in the mid of November and we started having a little bit of rain and the temperature went a little bit down. But this is like a big damage. But our cities, the big places of neoliberalism or capitalism, or as you want to call it, but it's like basically places based on the profit, where everything and everyone has to run. They seems to not care, everything has to go as every day. But when you are on the edges of this society or in the edge of the main places, or what you do or what you don't do allow you to reflect and observe and being on the edges of many things, talking with shepherds, with people that cultivate the lands, and you realize that there's something wrong going on, or at least there are feelings that makes you feel like we are not doing properly, or even in the worst scenario, it's already too late for rescuing many things. So we've been talking about doing a work about apocalypse with Matteo Meschiari, this anthropologist and writer, since like a couple of years before. And just the lucky thing was that I was able on February to develop this body of work just a few days before. What was the first tangible sign for everyone of apocalypse, because everyone was able to recognize it. It had effect on every one of us and on our everyday life. And so that's why I asked her this question, and he invited me to exhibit this work, Finen, which is not this one you're looking at. Afterwards, it was very nice because he said to me, listen, my grandma died and she left me some money. Instead of buying a Mercedes, I would love to invest it in art. And I would love you to come and make a body of work, building a portrait of my city, bringing here your eyes, the same eye you had for making Fine. The curious thing is also that this town, Lodi, which is a city, had the hospital where the patient zero was when they discovered the COVID. And of course, because of my way of dealing with those things, into this body of work I developed about Lodi, there are no photographs of the hospital.
So this is where the pandemic of 2020 started in Europe, or this is where it kind of began in Europe. Was this town, and you just so happened to be there. That is what. And so you were being pulled into the city before you even knew what was going on, and so. That is fascinating. How did that affect what you were photographing?
Oh, wow. No, that happened just 2 years afterwards. No,
okay.
1 year after. Sorry, no. I did the work about Sicily before the pandemic. At that time,
Okay.
they had the pandemic, and so this man, the bookseller, invited me to develop a work about this city, which is the same city where everything began.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, yeah, and basically I did this journey with him along the city in a shooting of like 10 days. And as I told you, like I was mounting the work into this PDF to allowing him to like giving me back a bit more of sense into the flow and the building of it. And in the end, the work was enjoyed, and the bookseller liked it a lot, and made an edition of 21 copies of this book, which were all sold, plus 3 copies for me, him, and the girl that wrote the text that is together with the. That's him, as I told you. That's him who basically took me around the city, who introduced me to places and people. And in a way, apart from the thing of being into the scene and giving, a suggestion of how enjoying or how being or deal with my practice, I also wanted him to be inside the work on his city. I wanted him to be like one of the inhabitants of this space. And this is another case of this like mad world, because on the left there is a statue of Jesus Christ, and on the right there's another inhabitant of the city, which is a guy that goes all the time up and down asking for money to everyone. It's like seen as a kind of icon of the city, and even if some other people reputate him like a madman, but I wanted also him to be in, because just a question, who is the mad one? I don't think he is. So yeah, some other places where like necessarily have to be inside. This building doesn't exist anymore, and they like destroying it to build a commercial shopping center. Just a few months after I took this photograph, so some places became story immediately. So yeah, basically this is how I helped myself into building the flow of images, and of course you're seeing like a final edit which works.